Hi, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for joining us for another Gen AI Workflows webinar. This is the fourth in the series, and today we're going to be looking at the world of video game design. My name is Joel, and I work as a content and partnerships manager here at Leonardo. And with me today is Jess.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jess. I'm one of the creative platform experts here at Leonardo. I'm so stoked for today's session. Video game design, special place in my heart. And also for us at Leo, we came from video game industry, so that's kind of our bit of our origin story. And yeah, it was a really cool and exciting workplace for today. It's going to be a super fun session.
All right, let's get into it. So, in terms of the run sheet for today, we're going to start by looking at a couple industry case studies. So, developers, studios who are using Leonardo out there in the wild in their gaming projects. And then I'll take a second to introduce today's workflows very top line. And then Jess is going to jump in on the platform and do those demos live. And then finally, we'll have some time for a Q&A at the end. We'll take some questions from the chat. So first up, how are people in the gaming industry using Leonardo and Gen AI? This first example is from a studio GamePack out of the Ukraine. GamePack are a art development studio primarily, and they're using Leonardo's tools in their pipeline to create concept art, in-game assets, UX, UI, and concept creature designs. And with Leonardo, they reduced production costs by 50% and created some incredible work across a massive range of IP and different projects. And this next case study is from MythMaker.AI. So they are building an AI-powered fantasy RPG. It's developed by the team Storytool Studios, and they use Leonardo's API. So they actually build Leonardo's API into their game as a way of creating personalized characters, environments, and gameplay. It really creates this very interesting, like single player experience. It's very unique, very bespoke. I think we won't have time to look at the API today, as that's technical. But I wanted to call this out as a different way of using Leonardo's suite within gaming projects. And finally, an example here from Lightning Forge Games, which is a gaming studio based here in Sydney and not too far from Leonardo HQ. And they're working on a range of traditional blockchain and AI powered gaming projects. And what you see here is a mascot for one of their games that they've actually trained an element for, which is a way of creating your own fine tuned model. And then they've taken that mascot and put him in a range of different backgrounds. So they're using their own IP, their own character design, and they're using that to take it into all these different environments as part of their marketing. So in today's session, we are going to walk through a few different workflows. We're going to start by looking at designing environments using Leonardo. So, and then secondly, we're going to look at creating dynamic CAD design. And we're going to look at, creating like character turnaround sheets and then some sort of splash art as well. And then finally, we're going to look at producing in-game assets and props. We're going to take a look at like a weapon, and we're also going to look at a example of a vehicle, some transport. I'm keeping it vague because I know that Jets is going to do. I don't want to spoil anything ahead of today's game before we kick things off. And by the end of this session, you should be able to use Leonardo across your game design pipeline to create characters, environments, and interactive assets. Without further ado, I think that's my initial spiel done. Jess, I might hand over to you.
Thank you, Joel. Let's get into it. So great. Before I even dive into our first workflow, I want to set the concept of the world that we're building. So today, the game that we're creating will be about a fantasy sea adventurer. So I'm going to want to create some worlds and some islands and regions that we're going to be exploring. One of them is going to be an icy landscape. So we're going to expect snow, a little bit of a fantasy element to it. I'm going for more like a 3D whimsical type of effect. And then we're also going to create a lava-like experience. This is going to be another region that we are traveling to. And of course, we have to have epic battles against monsters. So we'll need to create different hero characters as well as some of the weapons that we'll be battling them with. Okay, let me grab the next. Sorry, give me a sec. Different tab. Okay, so workflow one, we're going to be designing immersive environments. So whether you're going for a 2D or a 3D art style, this could work for both ways because we're doing environments for the first workflow. If you are looking for very high quality images ready for production, this could be ready for you to be used if you're doing a 2D game, if you need like a very beautiful loading screen, or if you are working in a storybook, or you could just make like an actual background for like a click and explore kind of game. This would be a perfect way to approach that. If you're working in maybe like creating a AAA game and you just need to get some of your concepts across faster for your production team to start modeling the environment, this is also a perfect way to approach that. So, for the steps in today's workflow, we're going to be showcasing our brand new feature that dropped about a week or two ago called Flow State. This is a game changer for concepting and ideating. It is also just really fun to be able to explore ideas that maybe you might not have thought of before. So, I'll be showing you how we can ideate our environment concept using Flow State. We're going to fine tune our style a little bit closer to get to that ideal design. Edit some of our prompts so we create a lava landscape, and then we're going to throw that into our upscaler to create those production ready quality images. So some examples of what we may be generating today. So this is kind of that icy landscape I'm going for with these colorings. And because we're going to be on a ship, I want to make sure there's always some sort of body of water in the image. Here's a lava-like landscape that we're going to be traveling into. And then we'll throw some of these images into the upscaler. So from before and after, you may notice that some of the details in the trees, for example, will be more sharpened. And just to zoom in a little bit more on that, so there's a little shrub that we have in the image. Once you put it through the upscaler, you can see the details of the leaves coming out a little bit more clearly, and the ice is just a lot more refined. So zooming back out again from this image, that was just this tiny little part down here. So you can imagine that this entire image has now increased in resolution and increased in the quality of the image, ready for you to use if you want to use it directly into your game. One last thing is I highly recommend putting all of your images into collections if you are working within a team within your studio, or if you're just working on your own. This is a really great way to make sure that you have little folders if you're working in different parts of your game, that they don't get lost. And it's also a good way just to see kind of like the mood or like a mood board in the one collection. So why don't we jump into the actual app and show you what we've done? Checking this is showing. Excellent. Alrighty, so once you enter Leo, this is going to be the first view that you'll see in the app. This is the navigation bar for most of the features that we have in Leo, but you can also access it from the left-hand side. So to enter FlowState, you'll see this little new button here, but also another way to enter is to go to image creation if you're more used to that, and then head over to FlowState over here. Before I enter into the prompt, just to show you a little bit about FlowState as this new UI, it is built for exploration and I guess going into a flow state of your mind, let yourself explore some different styles. On the left-hand side, we have things like vibe, lighting, shot type, and color theme for you to pick from. I'm picking everything as automatic at the moment because I'm trying to do that exploration stage. So what this will do is it will randomly pick two of each of these styles and give you a generation based on your prompt, but it could look very different. So you could have something that looks more like a color sketch versus something that's more surreal. Watercolor, you might not even have thought of some of the concepts that have come out from this and allow you to continue exploring. Because we're working with environments, I'm going with 69, and I recommend keeping prompt enhance on. It expands your prompts and makes it slightly different within each generation so that you can explore a little bit further. All right, so the prompt I'm using for today is going to be about our forest and lake in this grand icy environment. So I knew I wanted some electric colors and a little bit of sci-fi elements in there just to make it look a little bit more like out of this world. So let's go ahead and click generate. When you generate in flow state, it will also create images very quickly and you'll get 8 at a time. And as you keep scrolling, it will just keep generating the creative juices flow. It is an awesome way for you to explore new styles. And wow, I didn't even think of doing lightning at the top. That is so cool. All these look amazing. And let's pick a few that we like. So I might grab this one, click save to library. One thing that I'll note is these images don't get saved unless you save the ones that you want yourself. So if you're used to seeing it in your generations tab, this will not appear. Not all of the generations will appear. So let's pick these. Okay. And let's say I like this one, for example, I can do more like this, and then we'll enter kind of the next phase in our state, and we'll be able to see what is in that particular style. So it's applied the light art and the epic style. So these look so cool. Let's open up some of these. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I like that's given us something cool in the sky. So clicking on a couple of these. Now, what we can do from this tab onwards is you can then click on the upscale button here directly. And this is connected to our upscale feature. And you can choose whether you want an artistic or realistic upscale style. So what this does is it will essentially regenerate the entire image pixel by pixel, but it will also add in that additional detail that we saw in some of the examples before. So with this one, I'm going to go for artistic, and there are different bundles of upscale strength. If you want to see what they actually do, you can click on advanced settings and see how the toggles change. So for the purpose of this example, we'll do one at mid and one at ultra. So I'll try and give that a roll. Great. And we might do one. Oh, I might have done that. That's realistic. Let's do that as artistic and upscale. Alrighty. So what I'll do next is I want to create my lava environment. So what I am going to do is go over to classic mode and do a little helpy button on the right here. So if I click on go back to classic mode, we have these prompt helpers that will be able to kind of change up your prompt without having for you to rewrite the whole prompt yourself. So I like to use this when I want AI to kind of do the heavy lifting for me with the prompting. So I'll go edit with AI and I want to say, change this to a lava context. So let's just grab the prompt because I'm going for a more volcano environment. And I don't really want the crystallized, which is fine. Lava flow, magma like in a grand volcanic environment, fantasy flames. Yeah, that looks cool. So heading back to flow state, as you can see, it refreshes what we've had. So we're going to start a new flow state, and everything that I saved from before will exist in your library, which I'll go to in a moment. Go back to 69 and quickly generate that. Ooh, Ooh, these are cool. Okay, they've added in some of these nice blue moonlight effects, which could be what we're going for. I'm still in that creative state of it could be anything. I just know that I need a volcano environment within here. So let's click save and we'll click on. Oh, this is so cool. And as you keep going down, like more like this, you will continue to explore a more fine-tuned version of the image that you are looking at. So we've got this elegant and iridescence type. If you go more like this, you'll be able to see a new prompt that is enhanced from your original prompt. So as we keep continuing to explore this one, you'll go down another level, and then if you keep on exploring, you may end up at the end of the flow state because it'll start looking quite similar, but you'll have variations of that vibe that you're going for. And if you want to go back and choose a different one, you absolutely can. And keep going down, keep scrolling, keep letting your ideas flow. And this is just a wonderful way of using flow state. So, what happened to our upscale images? That's a great question. Let's go back and check on how that was going. To view that, we're back in the home page and you can view it in upscaler or you can go into upscale on the left here. So let's click on upscale. And for the image that we had before, this is beautiful. And you can see in the details what strength we were at. So I think 5 was like our mid. And the details are don't change the overall shape that much, but it adds in that additional sharpness to the image. And if we check on some of the other ones, so this was realistic at a much higher level. The trees come back a lot more realistic and a lot more refined in the images. And I think this one was an artistic look, but also at a very high creativity strength. And yeah, it's just beautiful. All of these, like preparing for this, I've had a lot of beautiful backgrounds that I could use. And these are just some stunning, beautiful artworks that you can use as part of your game or as part of your environment building. Okay, so going back, I wanted to show you the library real quick. So the images that we've saved will appear in the library. So these are some images that I've saved from before, and it will all appear in the My Generations tab. I'd recommend selecting the ones that you like. So yeah, like all of them. And then you can organize these in different folders. So either in your own collection, or if you're working in a team's environment, team collection, and then click on environment design. So some of them are already in there, so I'm adding them back in. And to see that, you can go over to either your collections, if that's where you had it, or in your team collections. And I have all of my designs in here. So as we keep generating, you may, yeah, lose some of the generations if you've kind of done a lot of generating that day. You'll be able to find that really easy in your collections. Okay, so heading back to the slides, let's do a summary.
Oh, I just wanted to jump in just to say those were awesome. So yeah, really sick. Very cool to see those come together. I loved like where we got to at the end of that flow state and seeing them upscaled was mad. So yeah, things don't always work out on the fly, guys, when you do it live. So yeah, those were looking really crisp.
Okay, so as a recap of what we just did, we had used flow state to ideate the concept that we were going for. So we created a really cool icy landscape as well as a lava landscape. And then I was able to fine tune that style to get closer to that design. As you click more like this, you'll be able to see the prompt change, you'll be able to see the style that was applied. And then if you want to enter a new flow state with a similar idea, change up your prompts. I like using the classic mode features for our prompt helpers to help you out and change that prompt a little bit, and then pulling those images into Upscaler, and you'll be able to see a much more high quality, like production ready image that you could use. Okay, so moving on to level 2, we will now be creating dynamic characters. I need to create like this hero character design, and for this one, I'm going to create a turnaround sheet so we can focus more on how the outfit of our character looks like. So for this one, we're going to be using the concept art preset, which is in classic mode. And then we're going to ideate different concepts on different character genders using content reference. We'll create variations of our character skins. So I want to be able to customize my character if they were in that icy landscape versus if they were in the lava landscape. You can quickly ideate those ideas of how it could look on your character, and then how to create that close-up splash shot of your hero character using character reference. So some examples of what we'll be creating today. So I'll be making some turnaround sheets of our front and back view, and then creating, say, the lava outfit versus the ice outfit. And this is the part that's really fun. You can start changing the prompt or changing kind of how you want the style of the ice outfit to look like. You can create like a male version or a female version, and or whatever version you want, and start playing from there. Let's say we finally decided on the design that we like. We're going to create, so like my ice character and lava character, and then you can apply your hero's face, or it could be your own face. Do whatever you want. Create like an AI avatar and create kind of a suite of images of your character and the outfit at a much closer look. So at this point, you're now designing a more detailed look of how your character could look like, and as a splash shot of what your character could be. And this is, as a concept artist, you can start with the base that you already know you want in your head, or if you have a sketched image of your own, you can use that as a content reference and let Leo kind of color it in for you. And I'll kind of show you how to do that as well. Okay, over to our platform again. Checking that's sharing. Excellent. And let's go back to home. We're going to be in image creation for this workflow, and we're going to go back to classic mode. So getting rid of this prompt, press start. And for those who are not super familiar with this UI, I would recommend heading over to presets and giving a bit of a play around with the different presets that we have here. So these are kind of like bundled aesthetics that we've trained, and also our own foundational model Phoenix. These have really just dropped quite recently. So a lot of great generations that you can make with these new models. For this one, we're working particularly in concept art, but if you're doing something more realistic or like more anime, you can absolutely try out some of these other models. So working in concept art in this one, it's going to be character sheet, which is a preset that we already have ready for you to use. So nothing super complicated you need to add in here. For the purpose of this session, I'll do one in fast and quality. Fast will be a lot faster, but quality tends to make the faces a lot more clearer. And 69 is the one I would recommend for dimension, just so that your image has a bit more to work with to generate into. So the prompt that I'm going with for today, we're going to work with a Sea Explorer character. I wanted them to be wearing some sort of vest. They're going to have green stripes and green hair. And let's give that a whirl. So let's generate that. I also do want inequality. Don't worry if the turnaround sheet isn't completely like that. You might have an arm that's a little bit wonky, or like you might just have half a body. It's generated a few times. You might find one that is close to the one or like the design that you're looking for, and then you can start honing in on that. I'd say AI is more of a step-by-step process. Don't expect to get everything right on the first go, but it will help you speed up your process of ideating, just like getting some of those ideas flowing. Okay, this one looks pretty cool. So we've got the idea is to make sure that the clothing consistency is similar or slight variations across back, front, and side. I have actually found this very useful if you're trying to do like if you're doing a more futuristic game, if you do like cyber clothing, or if you have armor and you're wondering how the back looks. It generates a pretty accurate rendition of what the back could look like. So these are pretty nice. I might actually use this one's kind of cool. So let's see. Yeah, of course, sometimes you might have some weird ones coming out, but mostly they're quite accurate. Mm, yeah. Let me view. So many to choose from. Okay, let's work with this one. If you have more time, obviously keep going and keep ideating off of what your ideas are. You can always change the prompt itself as well. So I'm gonna start using our image guidance feature here. So this allows you to upload an image and have the output have a bit of guide. So you can guide the output to what you want it to look like. So in this context, I'm trying to keep the same turnaround sheet look, but I want to create like say a female version of this character. So I'm gonna go and click content reference and upload that image that we just used. Great. And you can have a weight of how much you want the image to influence your output. For this context, I'm going to put it in mid. So that allows the AI to change the shape a little bit without changing too much of kind of the context or the content, which is like a turnaround sheet. If you put it low, it deviates a bit too much from this image. And if you put it high, you won't give the AI a bit of chance to change the clothing shape and design, as well as like the gender of the character. So here I'm putting it at mid, and I might just change this to female sea explorer with vest and green stripes and hair. I'll generate that. Mm-mm-mm. Or you could start the other way around. So you could start with female and then try and get a male version. And the idea here is I want to keep the vest and the kind of overall look of this character similar in the outfit. Again, don't worry too much about the hair itself. We're really just going for the outfit consistency. It's still loading, that's fine. So if I'm just gonna take a look at this. So yeah, our vest from front and side and back, they're quite consistent as well. Like the logo is in the same place or slightly different. And the great way you can do this is you can quickly pass on character design builds to production team if you have some like smaller character that you just need churned out. Or if you already have a good idea in your head and you want to draw it down, if you're someone who prefers do like traditional art and you want to upload that image yourself, then you can use that as your content reference and apply a very similar prompt and color it in. So here's our female version. So yeah, this is a really cool way to get her like skin of the colors as well. So if you just want to experiment with the color as well of what your outfit could look like, this is a great way to do that. This looks pretty cool, kind of like that belt situation going on here. And so the next step I want to do is create a variation in our lava and our ice landscape. So for this, I might grab, yeah, I like this one. So I'll save this as our base for our girl character. And I'm going to change the reference to her. This, I mean, you could still use the male version, but if you want to give the AI a little bit more guidance, getting your base as accurate as possible is helpful to get to your next step. So it is and one step at a time. And for this one, to create the icy character, I'm going to edit our prompt and make this outfit into a snow and ice theme. So let's do that and let the prompt change it. So it's changed the context in the way that uh, makes sense that I don't have to really think of. So frosty, white, icy blue vest with a frosty fur trim and glacier inspired green stripes. So I kind of want this to be blue. and maybe like blue hair. So let's go ahead and generate that. So what I'm expecting is it will change up. Maybe her jacket might be a little bit more puffy. Maybe it'll just be in that more winter theme. And all I really had to do was upload kind of the base image and let the AI kind of, yeah, add in the additional details that it thinks is a icy snow theme, and then still adhering to that turnaround sheet or the guide that we had from before. Oh, this is cute. Okay, so it's given her a hat. That's really nice. And yeah, we've got some more wintry themes. So we've got that like fur on her outfit. She's got a puffer jacket now. Oh, these are really nice. And this was on quality, so this one will take a little bit more time. And yeah, let's create a fire and lava outfit. So let's do the same here. Go for our edit with AI. Change the theme to a fire and lava theme. So now, really quickly, the prompts change. Like I didn't have to spend a lot of time just trying to fix up the prompt myself, which is a really great way to use Leo. Have the AI do the heavy lifting with the prompts for you, and spend more time doing ideating and changing up your generations. So this one's yeah. The quality of the face comes out a lot clearer when you're with quality. So that's kind of the difference between waiting a little bit longer, getting slightly high quality. But if you're trying to just churn out ideas really quickly, here's the great way to do it with fast. And okay, let's try this one. And whilst that's loading, let's go closer into the character and create like a splash art of your character whilst applying that character consistency to the face. So let's pick a random one. These all look pretty nice. But yeah, why don't we use this one? I like that belt situation. It's pretty cool. And what I'll do is I'll actually just take a screenshot of the close up of this image, or you can crop it however you like. And what I'm trying to do here is try and focus on the outfit of the character from top up and get it closer and closer to my character's design. If you already have your hero character with the face that you've already created, you can apply that in this next step. So removing this from content reference, we're going to use that screenshot. Let's grab this one. Great. And make sure you match the aspect ratio, otherwise you're gonna have a 16:9 and it'll cut off kind of her head here. So that's always something that I forget. And so make sure you have that in there. And then removing the prompt, we're going to use another handy tool in here called Describe with AI. Again, I don't have to do too much effort on the prompting myself because I'll let the AI do that for me. And it essentially translate this image back into a prompt, and you'll be able to get a much more detailed version of what your single character image looks like. So here we've got a stylized character with a confident stance. Character has light blue hair. La. So yeah, all that's very cool. And then I will grab my character. So let's use my face, and I will give that a whirl. So let's go generate for in fast and in quality, just so you can see the difference. And one other thing that I'll note is because this is on mid right now, it will change up her outfit a little bit. So if we're trying to go closer or a bit more refined to the original image that I'm feeding it, I'll put this at high. And content reference only really takes the context of the image. So it knows it's got a vest, it knows it's going to be belts, but the color itself, if this is what you're going for, you can have let the AI change up the colors for you, or we can apply style reference so that the colors are going to remain very similar to what we're feeding it. So we'll go maybe like an ultra. So let's see how that's gone. Oh my gosh. That's so cute. So yeah, this was the one where before we put any style reference, or I think this was at a mid content reference. So you can see so the content reference was mid. So it did change up the character, which maybe that's something you could go for if you're going for something more close up. And then this one, I had the content reference. I think this is on quality. So I think the face kind of looks a lot more cleaner. And this one was on content reference high, so it was getting closer and closer to my original image. And then I think this one is gonna be close to the coloring style that we've uploaded. Might just refresh this. It's taking a time, but that's all right. So yeah, this is a great way to get like a close-up character version of. Oh, here we go. So the coloring is now more closer to the style that I were going for before, and you can apply your character's face onto them. Have if we do like that fire version. Oh, actually, where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. So if we had a fire version of the character, this is pretty cool. Kind of added like some flames around her. Then you can apply your character's face onto the fire skin, and you'd be able to create like a suite of here are the different skins that your character could look like. And yeah, this is like in this way you can also change up how the coloring of the vest is if you just want like slight variations of what your character coloring could look like. This is a cool way to use content reference to ideate off of that. Okay, let's head back to the slides and do a recap. And actually, before I do the recap, there is another way if you're trying to do monster designs to use this workflow. So, for example, I wanted to create my little monster design for Peanut. So the little kid's called B Peanut, and you can upload like a sketched version, like I was saying before, if you have like a digital drawing that you wanted to upload and you're working in either 2D or 3D. So if you're doing 2D, you don't have to do this step. But if you're trying to see what your sketch could look like as a 3D rendition, you can let Leo do this using content reference and be able to render that for you as like a 2D, like a 3D rendition in a 2D image and see what it could look like before you even start working on modeling. You can then use same content reference to skin up your character to see what if it was in a blue, purple, green, like gold horns, how design, and have like, I don't know, 60 different versions of this. And then decide, okay, I actually kind of like it if it looks with like blue hair on the top with like gold horns and get closer to your concept faster. And of course, if you also want to reskin it in, say, a seasonal design, you can add in that style reference for a Halloween version of Peanut. So I have this cute Halloween image, and it's applied that glowing eye effect to Peanut. And here's like a Valentine's version, kind of added this love heart onto his face, which is very cute. And it's also helpful for playing with the prompts as well. But yeah, having content and style reference, you can reskin your characters, have different variations of them. A really great way to ideate how that could look. Okay, so
Just jumping in,
yeah,
Jess, to give
yes.
you a sec to breathe as well. But also saying, I thought that turned out really well. Yeah, I really liked where you got to at the end, like the big character reference stuff. Hopefully that answers some questions in the chat around consistency of assets as well. That content, like the image guidance is really the key there. I think content reference, character reference, stuff like that. But yeah, I thought those looked really mad. So yeah, excited for the next one.
Just gel. Yeah, actually, great way I want to approach using classic mode versus flow state is classic mode allows you to have more control with how your image output is, whereas flow state is free for all. Free thinking, flow state, let your mind flow. Which is a good transition over into workflow 3. So workflow 3 is we're going to be combining a bit of workflow 1 and 2 and having both the best of flow state and in classic mode. So for workflow 3, we're going to be creating some of those in-game assets and props. So for this one, we're going to be working with the ship design and our weapons. I'm going to do like a short dagger and show what this could look like in a lava theme and in an ice theme. And then we're going to pull those base images from flow state over into content and style reference, edit those prompts to match the different themes, and then we're going to apply some different elements if you're working in, like, say, more of a 2D art style to your generations. All right, so some examples we'll be creating is we're going to have our base boat and our base asset for our short sword. And then we're going to have variations of that in our ice version. This looks really cool when you're working in with reference to that original environment that we created in workflow 1. And then we're going to see what our ship looks like in this lava version and in ice version, as well as applying this flat element to change up your entire generation style to match like the design that you're going for. And this can be great if you have like your particular art style that you're working with, and or if you're working with an IP that you can like generate images to look more closely to that art design. And heading back to the app, checking, yep, that's showing. And I'm gonna remove all of this, so we can get rid of that. And I'm going to go over to flow state and we're going to do a rendition of a sailboat. For this one, I already know that I kind of want something simple and flat as our base image. I don't need anything too fancy, so I'm going to go for a flat vibe. You can always choose some of these other ones if you have an idea where you're going for, but I think this is a good place to start. And I think I'm gonna, yeah, this is pretty good. So quite flat. We've got a lot of different versions of what our boat could look like. I might just save some of these simple looking ones like that. I'm not even looking for anything on the ground. Yeah, and let's see. I think this one was pretty good. So we'll do more like this. Sort of dreamy. It's pretty cool. And yeah, let's just go for like that one. Okay, we've got a couple that we can work with. And I'm gonna head back to classic mode. And grabbing the boat that we had from before, you can actually see it from my generations. That's where it gets saved as well. So why don't we? Yeah, I quite like that first one that we had actually. And so here's our content reference for that ship. I'm going to use that describe with AI function before so that I can get the description of the boat in there. Yeah, I don't have to rewrite that prompt essentially, and it'll be more accurate to how the AI will interpret this image. And so when it generates it, it will be able to be more accurate to the image that I'm providing it as guidance. I don't really need it to be super like the same as my content because I kind of want to edit the style of it a little bit to be more in that icy landscape. So first off, match type aspect ratio. I'm gonna use the prompt edit with AI again to change this to an icy landscape. So like change the theme to a icy snow uh, theme. And so it should pick the context of where it makes sense. Again, I don't have to do the heavy lifting. It does it all for me. And I don't really mind if it's wooden or not. Just be like classic slate sailing ship, frozen in serene icy landscape against a soft gradient blue background. Yeah, we've got some icy themes in here. Maybe I want to make the sails are made of the ice. We'll see what that does. And then one other thing I would add in here is because we had created those environments from before, let's see, I can go back to the collections that I had my environments in. Again, really easy way to access the previous images you generated. I'm going to grab this one. So you can have the boat in the style or coloring of your environment. So it matches that, like if you're a certain coloring style or like a gradient style that you're working with, this is a great way to keep that consistency. So I might put this on ultra and I will put this on medium again because I want the AI to have a bit of freedom to work with the mast and changing up kind of some of the shapes of the boat. So let's do that. Give that a whirl. And whilst that's loading, the good thing about this is classic mode will stay as it is. And I'm going to go away, please. Go into flow state and we're going to create our basic fantasy sword. So I'm going to grab this prompt that I have and I'm going for that flat view again. So let's click generate. I don't need anything too fancy. And these are usually quite good already in the first flow. Oh, that's an interesting one. And oh, that's kind of cute. Let's go for something, yeah, simple. Maybe like this, more like this. We've given it some earth tones. And this flow state generates very quickly. It's just so good to get your ideas out and like, yeah, this is so that flat style I'm going for. Let's see, I might just 6. So okay, so I might go back to this and I'll save the one that we had before. And we'll move back to classic mode and see how this is going. Wow, that's cool. So we've changed up the theme of the ship to be more of that icy snow, how it would look. It's kind of made it white. It's changed my sails in a way that I kind of didn't think about it this way. That looks really cool. And the light rays. Yeah, that's awesome. And let's go for the lava version. So again, quick way for us to change the prompt, change theme to lava volcano. And it changes the context for you. I'm not the greatest prompt writer, so I'm so glad this exists. And then I'll change the background again, so whatever one that we liked before. But yeah, let's go for maybe like this one. Mm, yeah, let's see what it does. And because the prompt does play into the way the image gets generated, so sometimes if the coloring is set to like your style is set to ultra, it will override some of the prompts. But if you set it to like mid, the prompt will kind of take more weight. And a quick tip on how to do your prompts if you want to make it a bit more controlled is the earlier the subject is of importance is in your prompt, the higher weightage the generation will place on that prompt. So let's see what this does. You do one on. Oh, I actually realized I put on character sheet, so this would help a little bit better. Game concept. And yeah, feel free to choose between the different styles. This is kind of where the fun part of it is as well. Give it a bit of a experiment. It did a pretty good job though. And whilst that's loading, let's change this up and go for that sword that we were working with. So I think let's go for this one. And easy way to change up my prompt is to change the subject of the boat to a short board. Done, and it changes parts of it. So realistic 3D model for short sword. I don't really need it realistic. Emerging from a fiery molten lava flow. Oh yeah, very cool. And I'll click generate and see what that does. And just for funsies, let's do like a ice version of that. Oh wait, that was not what we used. Let's grab the one that we used. Because this one. And I can also cheat with my prompts by reusing the original one. So just to show how I did that, there's this button up here, so you can do reuse prompt. And then use edit with AI to change the sword again, change from boat to sword. So it's natural language talking to the AI to do some of the changes, and we'll generate that. So yeah, these look really cool. We've got like a molten version of it. And that's pretty cool. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's a really cool one. And then from here on, you can even take it another level by adding in that element. So these are almost like another layer of stylization that you can add to your image. These are pre-trained by the Leonardo team, but we have dropped a way for you to also train up your own lauras or elements within Leo. So I like to use this simple flat illustration, especially if you're working in 2D. Oh, this is so pretty. Like ice sword. And using the same prompt as everything that we have, I might put this down a little bit and we'll see what this gives us. And I'm expecting it to basically change up the whole style or artistic style of how this generation would look. And it's really great if you have your own art style that you're already working with, or if you want to use this element to create a consistent character, which our friends over at LFG or Light and Forge Games had done for their marketing team. You can train up like a front back view of your character. So if you have already modeled your character, let your marketing team create content with that character asset, and that means your art team will be able to free up some time to do other things like rigging or have more time back into your design and artistic workflow. So here's some really cool ways of, yeah, this is so cute. I really like this. We've got that flat version of what this icy sword could look like, but they all still have that same shape from my original base asset. And you can have different ways to reskin and add on top of that. So let me just check on time. Great. Let's get back to the slides as a recap of what we did. So
Those are
we
looking
have.
really, really good, Jess. Just jumping in
Thank
again.
you.
Loved where we got to at the end. And hopefully, yeah, that sort of shows you how you can like, use all these different image guidance things to kind of create those variations. Like you use content, you use style, you use character, and it's kind of just like another way as well as editing the prompts to create consistent assets.
Exactly. Thanks, Joel. So yeah, as a recap, we went through flow state. You can spend a bit of time getting your base asset, searching through flow state, and then reskinning that through content style reference within classic mode. I highly recommend always using the prompt helpers to get your like prompts just quickly changed without having to do too much thinking into it by talking to it in natural language, and then applying elements within your custom art style to create those generations in a more consistent looking artistic style. And I think that is all we have for the workflows today. I'm gonna pass it back over to Joel for our Q&A.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. There's been a lot of really incredible questions coming in. We don't have that much time, so we're probably not going to get to all of them. We'll probably just touch on a couple, but thank you so much. I just want to answer one, which is like not a demo question, but just very quickly. It came from Dave Brown, who asked, where is Leonardo going and how are you going to distinguish yourself? I just wanted to give you a very top line overview, which is that, like, for Leonardo, our focus always is on empowering creatives to create incredible work across, different industries, including the video game industry, and delivering customization and control. So that what that means is, like, our tools are designed for creators to take control over the AI image generation process. That's why, we built in so many different features under that image guidance menu. So I think that's really something that our team is very focused on moving forward, is allowing creators to have that fine-tuned, precise control over their image generation. So in terms of types of features we'll be rolling out, watch that space. And then I think in terms of, you mentioned a possible roadmap of new features. Yeah, it's safe to say that our team is always working on new research and developing all sorts of exciting new models and products. We are looking at, 3D, we are looking at video. So yeah, again, watch this space. But a couple of cool things that were pointed out. One was consistent environments. So you showed consistent characters. But Jess, I was wondering, I can't remember who asked this question, but is there a way to create consistent environments? So maybe showing like a content reference or a depth to image with an environment in image guidance. What do you reckon?
That's a good one. So consistent environments is, I would say, you'd have to approach it in a couple of levels. So one is your environment. You want to keep it at a consistent style, so in a consistent coloring as well. So I would add in that style reference into the environment. Actually, one thing that we didn't get to go through today was Metro Phoenix. So if we get back into the platform just really quick, checking on time, let's head over to Phoenix. And we have image guidance reference in here, but the way we're coming with content reference soon, but with style reference, it's a good way to keep the coloring of your environment the same. It's not going to look exactly as it is unless you train it up on an element. So if you already have, let's say, like a 3D rendered version of your environment in like its base, like grayscale state, you can have that as your base element and then apply color on top of that. You can then, using style reference for Phoenix, if you don't have any of that trained up, say like give me an example. Blah. My mind's blanking. What's a good environment we can work with?
So we've got ice, we've got fire. Maybe we could earth. I'm
Mm,
thinking of, the different
they'll just do like an igloo or something. Very, very basic, like an igloo. You can, so what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get that first image variation up. And then for Phoenix, because it's a lot more prompt adherent to the changes that you're making, there's a button that appears here specifically for Phoenix, similar to that edit with AI before, but it uses that same fixed seed. So what it does is it remembers, so it's grabbed the coloring from that style from before, it remembers the previous sort of look of your environment, and then you can add in like,
we've got a request to change it to an Irish pub. That's possible.
okay, let's do that. Change the igloo to an Irish pub. Great, let's
See
do
how
what
that
it does.
goes.
This will be a fun one. And so what I expect it to do is it will keep the same style reference. So there's just an easy way for you to keep the style reference in there whilst keeping that seed. So I'm expecting it to kind of still have this icy landscape with the same coloring. And maybe, whoa, that's kind of cool. We've got the entire Irish pub environment also generated into this with that same coloring that we're going for. So it's not exactly the same as like keeping like a 360 view of that same place, because it's not going to know unless you've trained it up on it. But if you're trying to get for go for some ideas with a similar coloring to get that consistency in, yeah, let's say like the icy landscape or that lava landscape, then I would use style reference with Phoenix. And if you have, yeah, content reference is best if you already know what your base image looks like, and then it sort of does slight variations of it. But if you're just kind of going for versions with the same coloring style, then I would use style reference.
Thanks so much for that, Jess. That was really great. I'd really encourage everyone to play around with Phoenix as well. It's very powerful. I think we might have to leave the Q&A there. Sorry, guys. I know there's so many questions coming through. We are coming up on the hour. But before we all go today, I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to our upcoming webinar for architecture and interior design. This will be happening on January 30th next year. It's going to be a really exciting one. It's going to be the last in our sort of Gen AI workflow series, which is covering all sorts of different creative industries. Love to see you there. If you have any interests in that area, it should be another great session. And before you go, a few QR codes to scan. These are the same links that you'll find in the pinned comment on the chat. So the first will direct you to join our Discord community. There you can get hands-on help from our team. We've got an incredible community there, the third largest in the world. You'll find people who'll be able to help you out with all sorts of different workflows. The next will direct you to register to our next webinar. That's that architecture and interior design webinar on January 30th. And the final QR code there will direct you to register interest in Leonardo for Teams, which is our business product. So this is great if you're working as part of, say, a gaming studio. You can have, 5 seats, 10 seats, 100 seats, whatever. And, you can give those seats out to all the different sort of developers and designers, and then you can collaborate on image creations, share assets, as you saw Jess was able to do today in sort of these shared collections. And then you can all access those different collections. So it's a really handy product. We use it ourselves for these webinars. So yeah, I can't recommend it strongly enough for those in the business space. Everyone will get a copy of this recording via email. It'll happen pretty shortly once we wrap the stream. And then, we'll post a version to YouTube in the coming days. But yeah, Jess, how'd you feel like today went?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for whoever had the Irish pub suggestion. We like seeing an icy version of a nice pub outdoors.
Yeah,
Really
it
make
was
a
great.
game like that.
I did think the beer garden was probably looking a little cold to sit out in. More of an interiors kind of a place, but it was mad. Yeah, thank you everyone for your chat, comments, suggestions, questions. I know we don't get around to all of them, but we really do appreciate you guys coming along and taking the time out of your days to learn a little bit more about Leonardo and generative AI. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for turning up.
Yeah, please have some fun. Please explore. It's such a great tool. If you're playing any like D&D games, create your own AI avatar, create your own environments, have a fun background. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's really the trick, is just kind of jumping in there and kind of messing around and treating it a little bit iteratively, not everything's going to be 100% right the first time, but just kind of getting back in there and trying again. Awesome.
Thank you all. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you again in the new year.
Bye.
Cheers.